boutique. She's got things set up like the whiz she is. I would like to introduce and welcome Sue Ellison. Please. Thank you, Anne, and welcome everyone to Melbourne. And I'm really looking forward to presenting this. I was up till 2:30 this morning getting it ready for you. So I can assure you it's completely hot off the press, brand new, never said before. You get it here live. And I'm recording it. I've got audio recording. I'm getting some photos taken, so it should be fun. There's not going to be too much talk about me, apart from the fact that I'm a very proud author of 2 books, which I've released this year. This one on Tuesday night, 120 Ways to Attract the Right Career or Business. And the first one is 120 Ways to Achieve Your Purpose with LinkedIn. I'm one of the first 80,000 people in the world on LinkedIn, and I've been consulting on the topic of LinkedIn for 8 years. And there's 80,000 words in each book, so there's plenty of stuff there to help you out. If you would like a copy of the digital copy of the first book, I'm going to share that with you. All you have to do is drop your business card or your email address into the bowl before you go. So that's the best free offer I reckon you're going to get at this conference. In exchange, I'd just like a review. Yeah, so $10 free just for coming to this session, so aren't you lucky? Now, I am very fortunate to have been able to speak at the last 2 CBAA conferences in Adelaide in 2014, where I reminded everybody to think about their purpose and also talk briefly about LinkedIn features. And then last year in Perth, it was more about digital identity and having a pull strategy for attracting people to your online profile with LinkedIn, Google+, and your own website. And very much focusing on both the computer experience to attract people to you, as well as when they got there, what was their user experience. So both of those presentations are online at sueellison.com if you would like to check them out. But today, I've upped the ante. I've got to get through this in 55 minutes with questions. So get ready. It's going to be fast. What are your values? What I talk about in my second book is a capital raising mindset, because I adopt an entrepreneurial approach to life and work. Economy models that are around game changers that have completely affected what we're doing now. Some actions. I'm focusing on specific tips for career development professionals in schools, universities, and in private practice. Briefly touching on LinkedIn, a couple of the features you may not know about, so that you've got an update on that. Websites, search engine optimization, because I also teach at the Centre for Adult Education here in Melbourne. About to start teaching at RMIT University, and also General Assembly, which is a great digital training company based in the US. Brand development and network management. So there's no chance of you going to sleep. I'm telling you now, you're going to have to listen and learn. There's tips here. So first of all, we've heard already today a little bit about purpose, but I think purpose is based on values. And if you can really understand what your values are, it becomes much easier to work out what your purpose is. And it's a framework for making decisions about choices that either you or your clients are going to make. And I've been speaking to a guy who's done economic development all around Australia recently, and he's now commissioned with a job out at the City of Whittlesea, which receives 8,000 new residents per year. It's the fastest growing council area in Australia. And he said to me, so how can we get more people into jobs out in Whittlesea? And I said, well, first of all, they have to speak English literacy. Next thing is digital literacy. And the third thing is they have to be ready for work. They can't just be somebody who needs a job. And so what they had in mind was just to set up a jobs website and have jobs listed. I said, employers don't want 600 applicants and to interview them. They want somebody who can rock up, do the job and go. So, really focusing on how do we get people ready for work. Online strategies and offline strategies. I never rely just on LinkedIn or any digital technology for the work I do. That's why I present, that's why I teach, that's why I go to networking events, that's why I classify myself as a professional learner. I go to between 1 and 4 events, live events per week, just to keep myself up to date. I figure if I'm teaching, I have to be smarter than the students. And the only way I'm going to be smarter than the students is if I keep learning. And so we really have to be lifelong learners. All expressions we've all heard, but I have to live it. Also, what's happening is there's this terrible mentality since Google came along that I should be able to get everything for free. And so there's an awful lot of people in our society who expect everything to come to them just automatically, and if they go to some seminar and they buy something, they'll get money, and so I'm dead against that. I honestly believe we have to provide a fair exchange. And the way we can do that is by showcasing our value. There's an article on my website, sueelson.com, under publications, talking about, do you want to be perceived as we get older, I'm 50, do we want to be perceived as a guru or a dinosaur? So if you're interested, check out sueelson.com publications and you can read that article. Also, what I think is important in the career development space is to help people clarify what they want to do, create those opportunities, get them attracted to the person, and teach that person some persistence, and then also help them review what's going on the way through. So with a capital raising mindset, we're not coming from a place of fear where we think technology, robots and everything else is just going to crash and burn us and we're never going to have any opportunities. It's a place where we understand what our real value is, and we look at the value that we have to share. So it's our social value, what do we share with the people around us, our intellectual value in the fact that we're prepared to learn for life, our cultural capital, which most of us in Australia are very good at working with people from different backgrounds. Financial is both time and money. So some people have more time, and that's actually value. It doesn't mean they have to earn $200,000 a year. They might be happy with 60 grand a year and time. So just let's rethink, what does financial capital and financial reward really mean from our work? I'm finding a lot more people are quite happy, even those without children under the age of 30 are choosing to work part-time 3 days a week because they want a 4-day weekend. So don't make these assumptions that everybody just wants money. There's also gratitude or operating capital, and what you have now. My mum had polio, so she's walked with a limp and she's lost her mobility now. I am so grateful every day I can walk. I never complain I've got sore feet, my feet hurt. I don't care, I can walk. And it's not until we lose some of these things that we realise the value we've already got. We can open our eyes, we can see, we can hear. There's heaps of people who don't have this value who would love to have that, and then obviously find work as well. Our relationship capital is the commitment we have to others, which also gives us personal value, and our credibility is what will generate returns for us. The number one currency now is trust, and the number one asset that you can provide is loyalty. And your influence ultimately will be about whether you can leave a legacy and also live a life of significance. And a lot of people moving into that retirement stage are going from success to significance. I read some article about it. I thought, what a terrific slogan, success to significance. There's new economy models as well. So in the past, artists, musicians, they all know what it's like to live gig to gig, but now more other professions are operating on a gig-to-gig basis. It's also an extremely noisy environment. We heard this morning that most of the content out there online was created in the last 2 years. It's really noisy. One of my course participants this week, he places cover bands for weddings and stuff, and he said, you know what, I'm sick of everything online, I'm just going to put a plane in the sky right on the sky. He's just so sick of all this noise he has to compete against. So we're operating in an environment that is an attention economy. There's also a reputation economy. Because so much business is done by referral, up to 85% of business is done by referral, you've got to be able to verify someone's reputation. So this means you have to have content out there in both the offline space and the online space that people can verify. Referral is still the best way to get work or business. Don't underestimate how important it is to get referrals. The people who are referred into organisations are much more likely to stay in the organisation and much more likely to adapt. So most employers still say to the employees, do you know anybody who could join us here? So always remember that's a really important technique. Sharing. There's Airbnb, Uber, there's multiple websites now where the old marketplace is gone and the sharing economy is now taking place. That has other problems which I'll talk about later. There's also knowledge economy. So some people are finding that if they specialise in an area, they're much more successful than if they go too broad now. And also demand, because the supply keeps changing so frequently. If you can be where the demand is, you can get work, but if you're not keeping up where the demand is, you can be disadvantaged. And also social and social media. a lot of people, are influencing. My son was watching this video of this guy just talking and eating his breakfast. I'm thinking, what on earth are you doing, wasting your time watching this crap? And and then the guy says, "Hi Peter, you want to make a comment?" I'm thinking, oh, this is just creepy, and what a waste of time. This person with his phone and his, half-naked top is just talking away, and my son's listening to it. I don't get it, but it's affecting the way work is done. So, next, game changers. As I said, I spend a lot of time in the entrepreneurial space, and I go to lots of meetup groups and things around Melbourne. And one of the things they're talking about that's really going to change the online space is ad blocking software. So if you've been paying for ads to get your practice somewhere where it needs to be, you could be missing the whole target market in the future, because the ad blocking software, everybody's getting sick of the ads. So, that ad may not work. Also, voice activated commands. So when I talk about search engine optimization, I try and encourage people to write content around what people are going to be searching on Google or LinkedIn or whatever platform for. So I was working with this guy the other day, and he is in expatriate health. And I said, look, you've got to have content matched to voice commands, not just text commands, because I know how to spell expatriate health, I wrote it up. But when I asked, I have my phone plugged in and I can say, hey Siri, and it responds to me. Let's hope it doesn't do it now. And I said, find the information on expatriate health. Now I know I've got a terrible Adelaide accent, but it came back with expatriate, which is not the word expatriate. So if you want to have content that's relevant for a voice command, you actually have to practice your voice command and see what content comes up. So if he has a website and he has an article and it's spelled expatriate health, he can come up with search results from a voice command and everybody else won't. So you really need to start thinking about voice commands. You also need to think about aggregator services. So this is like your Airbnb and so on. And they don't have any properties, they don't manage any hotels, they just list them all in one spot and skim off the top. And anybody who ends up not being on those portals ends up missing out altogether. And I think these aggregator services, they're the new snake oil salesmen of our modern times. They just cream everything off the top. In some respects it provides more value, but at another one, it eliminates a lot of people from the competition. So I am concerned about aggregator services. Again, focusing on everything for free. Some people, they won't pay for a career practitioner, but they'll go out for dinner and spend $300. Now, $300, how long does that dinner last? 24 hours? By the time it comes out the other end. But career development, how long does that $300 last? That could change someone's life. Why do we not convince people of the value that we provide? A lady came up and at my book launch the other night, I found out that another lady had written a book, Sharon Davies, so I got her to come up. And then a lady who I only met for 1 hour. It's a really interesting story because she came to me because she couldn't work out how to do this blog, and she'd been sold some off-the-stage program about you can make loads of money out of selling coffee machines on Amazon. And of course Amazon were complaining because she wasn't putting out legitimate content, and she had 3 blogs, and look, it's an absolute schmozzle. And I basically had to say to that lady, you've got to stop doing the coffee thing, tell me what you're really interested in, art. So, believe it or not, in 1 hour, she changed. She now does art, she's published her first book, it's a colouring book with graffiti art, because, not everybody wants to colour in flowers. And, she's living the dream. And we did that in 1 hour. So please, just start reminding people of the real value that you offer and stop letting them fall full for perceived value. Is that $1,000 handbag really going to help your life? Why would you spend $1,000 on that? Focus on what's really important. Also, what's happening now is personalisation. All the content that you're receiving, a lot of the time, you've created. By what you click on Facebook, by what you click on LinkedIn, by what you check out online, while you're signed into your Gmail account, they're tracking everything. Have you noticed how your newsfeed changes? Again, I'll go back to my son. He decided to buy a car on a hire purchase, and all of a sudden his Facebook feed is filled with finance company offers. And he says, oh Mum, everybody's selling finance on Facebook. I said, well, that's because you must have said to somebody, you're buying a car. And now all of that stuff's coming into you. So all this data, we're moving away from demographics. You know, he's an 18-year-old who wants to buy his first car. What's happening now is advertising being targeted to him based on his behaviour. So what's happening is so many decisions are being driven by data and behaviours, and that's creating predictive artificial intelligence. And that's determining what you are receiving. So in the old days, when you had the newspaper, you got the whole lot, the whole story, the sports, the real estate, everything. I never read the sports. Now I don't have to even see the sports. So, you know, this is going to change the way people think and act. And also, there's a lot of mass manipulation based on this data. So did you know that when you go to a shopping centre, they know that you're there because they're tracking your mobile phone, they know how long you stand outside the store, they can change the screens based on what you might be interested in, days of the week, they can organise the rosters, all based on data when you walked into the shopping centre with your mobile phone. And you didn't even know it was happening. Yeah. The store, you know, the shopping centre, you know, they'll pay for the tracking. And it's just a little device that they just plug in, it's got its own SIM card, connects to the internet, and they can pick up the signal from the phones, the mobile phones. Now, according to data, they don't know your number. Yeah, right. Do you believe that? I sure don't. But yeah, the only way you can go shopping and not be tracked is leave your phone at home.
And the data with regard to personalisation,
Yep.
the data mining,
Yep.
who are they and
Well, it depends on the platform. So if it was on LinkedIn, you know, every time you log in, whose profiles can you look at, what do you like, comment or share, what do you view, what do you click through to, you know, which groups you join. Not necessarily, unless there's a value in it to the other person. The laws are different in the US compared to Australia, so a lot of the data can't be officially sold in Australia, but in other countries it is. But technically, it's privacy by choice now. So you can actually consent to it. And believe it or not, the younger generation is consenting to it because they might win a $20 gift voucher. I mean, I couldn't dream of giving away my story for $20, you know, I just wouldn't do it. But yeah, so a lot of this data is being collected.
What we all do on Facebook.
Yeah, I know, same thing. So everything's being tracked.
We're the product and they're just giving us the product.
Correct, correct. All of our behaviour is determining what we're seeing. So if you want to change what you're seeing, you've got to change your behaviour. All right, moving on, actions. I think as career development practitioners, we have to set the example for our clients. If you're going to sit down and tell your client they need to update any of their online content, and your online content is crap, it's going to be a bit of a hard sell. So you really have to be up to date. You also need to think about wisdom. I had a really young guy who was a tourist on one of my courses this week, on, I can't remember what day it is, Tuesday. And he came along because he's worked in social media in multiple countries at a very high level for very prestigious organisations. And I said, look, there's two things. You can teach an old dog new tricks, but only one trick at a time. And it's easy to teach a wise person how to be digital, much easier than it is to teach a digital person how to be wise. Think about that. What is also important is when you have wisdom, you have the ability to determine what is a shiny object, which is great for now, and what is real. And so we need to be able to help our clients understand what is real and what is just the latest shiny object. We'll be gone in 5 minutes. We also need to think about our presence, both physically and online, as both lifetime value. If you put it there, it will stay there, which is why I recommend that all of you have your own website, like I have, sueelson.com. I've registered my children's domain names, and they have to pay me a lot of money if they ever want them back. I met this really lovely man the other day, and he's got a 3-year-old daughter, and he's had an email address for his 3-year-old daughter for 3 years, and every year on her birthday he emails his daughter. I think it's so cute. And so when she gets her email address when she's a bit older, she can go back and look at the emails that her parents had sent her when she was 1. I thought that was really cute. But you really do need to have your own domain name. Even if you are not going to publish on it now, you need to preserve it. People buy it as Christian gifts and all sorts of things now. And that way, when you do publish, the website is as old as when you bought it. So, if you buy it today and you don't publish on it for 5 years, in 5 years' time it'll be a 5-year-old website. And Google will like that. So you're not going to lose anything. It's very inexpensive to register a domain name. But if you have gone the next step and you've got a website, you then need to generate some dynamic value, because it's not going to rank in Google or anywhere else, or even your LinkedIn, if you're not participating in the platform. So you need to have a certain level of dynamic value. But you don't spend 4 hours a day on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on whatever else, because you think it's going to work. That's not what it's about. But you do need to maintain some level of activity to keep your dynamic value upheld. You also need to create digital assets rather than digital expenses. So I was working with a business that had 170 locations across Australia. They were spending $30,000 a year on Google AdWords. That's a digital expense. Digital expenses only go up, they don't go down. A digital asset has the ability to attract income. So the more representation you have online, the better. And I've said this before at the conference, if you're a professional member of the CDAA, please fill out your profile properly on the CDAA website. That is a gold piece of real estate, digital real estate. Make sure it's up to date. You also need to understand what algorithms are. That's basically a mathematical equation that is going to work with whatever data you've managed to give to whatever platform, and it's going to do something with it. So you need to understand what could happen with your activity. And you need to understand what search engine optimization is. And that's, if you do things in a particular way, it has a better benefit. But you don't just pay somebody $500 a month not knowing what they're doing, because they could be chasing the latest trend, the latest shiny object. Google or whatever else changes the goalposts, and then you've got to eliminate all that bad stuff that they did. So you do need to be careful if you're going down the search engine optimization path. You also need to send the right signal. So I do a variety of things. I post frequently, I like, I comment, I share. Because I have such a large network now, I have another issue, which is the perception, oh my God, Sue's always online, because I keep appearing. If you're connected to me on LinkedIn, you probably think, God, Sue, she's just always online. But it's not me, it's the algorithms that are doing it. So I have to be conscious of what is automatically happening now without me doing anything about it, and the perception that that is creating. So I actually have to stop being active, because I could be perceived as overactive by real people. I also believe that the whole point of this is to attract the right opportunities to your clients, and for them to respond and then decide, do they need to change what they're doing. And always smile, like it's the universal language. You can't have sex with everybody, but you can smile with everyone. And please say thank you. Like if you get a referral, or your client gets a referral, or you make a referral, make sure your client calls them up and says thank you and tells them the outcome of that referral. It's really important. Somewhere along the line, there's a generation that's forgotten how to say thank you, and it's really bad. So, career development in schools. I'm sorry I'm talking so fast. How am I going for time?
Just you're fine. Slow down.
Career development in schools. Again, set the example, because are you actually looking after your career? I know some of you want to transition out of school, some of you want to do schools part-time, something else part-time, some of you are sick of schools, so make sure you're looking after your own career. And also, make sure that your students set up their LinkedIn profile before they leave your school. And your school should be a university on LinkedIn, and they should choose your school from the university profile. So just because you're a school doesn't mean you're not a university, you're a university in LinkedIn language. So make sure all your students have a LinkedIn profile. The fastest demographic growing on LinkedIn is students, so make sure they've all set their LinkedIn profile up before they leave the school. I've also been working with a number of universities here and interstate on their alumni strategy. And I'm an alma mater student of the University of South Australia, and I have to say their alumni strategy is fantastic. They do amazing things over there. They even have me back for a masterclass on LinkedIn. It's really, really good what they do. So if you want to see a good example, look at what the University of South Australia is doing. I've been doing some work with Monash more recently, looking at the events that they run, charging for events. You know, there's a whole range of strategies you can do to maintain your portfolio of students after they leave the school and help them bring back business to the school. And also, you need to have a website or a blog strategy, because a lot of the students now are going to have an online presence. More than 70% of people, decision makers will look online before the person even gets an interview, and 95% will Google you and check Facebook, whatever, before you offer the job. So if there's nothing online about your client, they won't get a job. It's as simple as that. They have to have a digital presence. And the beautiful thing is, if they've got one on LinkedIn, it will show up on the first page of search results, unless their name is John Smith, then it could be a bit tricky. But you know, most people, if they put the name into Google, they can be found with a LinkedIn profile if it's been completed. I do encourage them to register a domain name and also have their own email as well, obviously. And then there's lots of different non-traditional attraction strategies that you can encourage your students to think about, you know, getting them involved in local communities. There's a lot more work placements being done now in different types of areas, so definitely keep that momentum up as well. In terms of career development in practice, again, the main goal is to help people showcase their value. One of my pet hates is on somebody's resume, I have 24 years of experience in such and such. Now, when I was in my 20s and in recruitment, I can tell you I could not see beyond the age of 30. So if I hadn't seen that resume back then and it said it had 24 years of experience, that person is definitely a dinosaur. But if that profile had been written, done this, and this, that person is a guru. So it's a completely different approach. So please, if you learn nothing else, eliminate years of experience. It's about the value, and it's not about age either. I've been going grey since I was 25, and yes, I dye my hair, but that's not why I get work. It's because I keep learning and I keep making sure that I'm employable, and I have lots of opportunities running on, and I'm always getting the next one, and so on. It's also really important to educate and collaborate with clients, so rather than just tell them what to do, but to help them work out how to do it for themselves, and to help them massage the message. A huge number of people I find are terrified of writing anything. So you need to actually help them. Don't just say go home and write it, they can't do it. They actually need the help to write. I could talk about that for another half hour. Responsibility. There's 3 types of people in the world. James Tuckerman tells me, he's an entrepreneur, very successful at it. There's number 1, the people who are never going to pay you no matter what. They just expect everything for free, they ring you up for half an hour, waste your time, right? I'm nice to those people, but I tell them refer to my website, because they're still good referral sources. Second type of person is the one I like working with. They're the people who want some help, and I like teaching and training, so I like working with those. The third sort of person, so just do it, I'll pay you for it. Now, I don't like working with those, but I'm sure there's lots of people in the room here who'd be quite happy to work with those people. So if you are, let me know, I'll give you the job. But think about that. Which types of people do you want to work with? Are you going to waste your time chasing the people who are never going to pay you? Are you interested in helping people and working with people who want to take some ownership? Or do you just want to work with the people who say, give me the money and I'll do it? And the next thing is digital competence. So we've talked about digital literacy, English literacy, work literacy, but I think it's beyond that now. We can't just be literate. We have to be competent at using digital tools and technologies. So, I promised you an update on LinkedIn. For those of you who don't know, you should be keeping an eye on your views, how many views you've had per 90 days. If you or your clients are looking for work, you need to be getting more than 100 views per 90 days for your profile to be generating enough activity to be worthwhile. It's also a fantastic idea to save your profile to PDF, which is a drop-down box on the big blue button on your profile page. You can also save to PDF other people's profiles and keep a record and print out and copy ideas and so on. And you also need to export your LinkedIn connections. In the unlikely event that LinkedIn crashes, you don't want to lose all your connections. But also, sometimes when you go to look at a contact, their email address doesn't even show on the screen. So if you've exported your LinkedIn connections, you can still find their email address. There's a ranking system, if you follow that link, where you can see how you rank for profile views. So if you're in a particular niche, you know, you're an engineer specialising in civil construction of bridges over rivers, you know, and most of your connections are all in that space as well. You can see how you rank for profile views compared to the rest of the network. And it's probably most useful for people who are in specific niches. You can also see how you perform socially on LinkedIn. So how often do you like, comment, share, participate in groups, do other sorts of activities with that particular link. And then there's also a new feature, so you've probably all heard of Upwork, Freelancer, Fiverr, where you can go and get people to help. LinkedIn now has its version of that called ProFinder. Now, I do find that most of the people who come up with the results if you want something done are in the US, so it's not, in my view, the best tool yet here in Australia, but it's definitely something we're moving on. And another thing that I do is consult specifically to businesses who want to use LinkedIn in a better way to attract more business to their firm. And there is a product now that you can purchase through LinkedIn called Elevate, which will now enable company updates to be spread through employees' networks. But I actually think it's much better if you get the employees to buy into it and you send out emails and let them send messages through their own networks. So I don't believe that's the best way to do it, but there is now a product available if you just want to press a button and pay a fee and have it happen. And the last one is probably going to be something that some of you would find very interesting if you're interested in the trends of where work's going, because LinkedIn is trying to provide a digital map of the global economy, where work is and what people are doing and all that kind of stuff. So that's that link there. Now, how many of you have got your own websites that you manage, supervise, run, involved in? About half, okay. So if you have Google Analytics installed, which you should have, your speed, they should load up within 4 seconds or less. So even if you're at a school or a university, ask the IT person, is our website loading in less than 4 seconds? The bounce rate, the target should be less than 55%. So that means when somebody comes onto the website, before they disappear and go off somewhere, it's not too quick. So if it's 55%, that's good. It means they normally see more than 2 pages. So you try and encourage people to spend at least 2 minutes on your website as well, like good content, and also encourage them to have more than 2 pages. So don't just go to the home page and disappear, but try and get them to go to 2 or more pages. And the Google algorithms determining when you will come up in search results are very much focused on location. It's the #1 priority, because it knows where you are, because if you're on your mobile device, which most of us are, it knows that we're sitting here in Collins Street, Melbourne. And also, if you're at home, your computer is still connected to the internet, so it knows, you know, I'm sitting in Canterbury when I'm working from my office, and it knows that location, so it's going to provide results based on your location. It also must be responsive. Google will penalise you if your website is not responsive, which means that it works on a mobile device, which is a phone or a tablet, as well as on a normal computer or laptop. It needs to have content that is constant, as well as content that is regularly added. There's a web design company in Adelaide that's basically got a 1-page website and a blog, and that's it. And they rank their socks off, get heaps of work. So it's not about making it complicated, it's just about keeping it current. You also need to be able to create content that I can just scan through. If you've got long paragraphs of 10 lines, I'm not going to read it. Most people just look for the images, for the headings, and so on. So your content needs to be scannable, and it must answer their question. There was a guy who was looking for the towing capacity of a vehicle on the car manufacturer's website, and he couldn't find it. So what did he do? He looked for a different car, because they didn't have the towing capacity on the website. So, you know, think about what the people who are looking at your content need to know and make sure that those questions are answered. And also, you have to be really, really clear on who your target audience is before you do any of your website work, or, you know, before you try and improve it. And don't just aim for traffic, you need to aim for conversions. Get them to do what it is you actually want them to do. Now, those links there are for if you're going to set up your own website, what you need to know before you speak to a website designer. Also, what primary and secondary keywords you should try and work out, how algorithms work, and also there's a really great little video tutorial from Google which helps you understand what you need to do if you're going to set up your own website. They're all little links from Horses Over. Oh, I think I need a mouthful of water.
We're about
How long?
13 minutes.
13 minutes, but we're going to make it. Okay, search engine optimization. You need, as I said before, to understand your target audience first and regularly add quality content, not just bulk content. If you are not comfortable writing a lot of content yourself, you can curate content. So you can compile content which is from other people. So rather than having to write it all yourself from the start, you can bring content together. There's a lot of authors who they don't write the book, they just compile stories from a whole bunch of other people and then they say they've written a book. So, you know, you can do that. You can curate rather than manually write everything. You also need to have links within your website to other pages within your website, intralinks, as well as outlinks going to other websites. So I should hope that all of you will be going off to the CDAA website. And if you've got a profile on the CDAA website, you're going to have a backlink and a reciprocal link, you know, if it goes both ways. And the more high authority websites you can get on, the better. So for instance, with my book launch, because it was a free event, I got to put on the local council website. Woohoo! Great search engine optimization to be on the local council website. So think about, you know, how can you get content of yours and a link on a media article or a story to your website, on a high authority website, on a newspaper, government, big organisation. It really will work wonders for your ranking and your results. The title of the page of content you write is the most important thing. So as I said before, with that expatriate health, if that guy writes articles on expatriate health and expatriate health in the title, and then he has that word in the headings, and he has those words in the first sentence of the first paragraph, and he has it on the description of the image, and he has it in the call to action, then that's obviously going to rank much better than something you just wrote up and just flung something together. You also need to keep Google informed of what you're doing through Google Plus and Google My Business. So it used to be called Google Maps, Google Local, Google My Places, Google, all these different, now it's called Google My Business. So if you Google Sue Elston, that picture on the right-hand side and the reviews, that's my Google My Business page. And that's really, really valuable as well. And as you heard from Mark this morning, what I understand is Google's #1 search engine, YouTube is #2, but YouTube is owned by Google. So, my goodness, you know, optimize your videos on YouTube. Don't just put videos on YouTube, but put your keywords in every single spot, in the transcript spot, in the title of the video, the first words are the most important, you know, make sure that you optimize your videos. There's talk that within 2 years, up to 80% of the content on the internet will be video, and worse still for us, live video. Ugh, what a thought. Anyway, brand development. If you are wanting to build the brand of your school, yourself, your practice, your business, whatever, you need to be authentic and you need to be consistent. If you are just pushing out a sales message, people get tired of that extremely quickly and you will lose traction. You also need to think about what is the perception and what is reality, and try and focus on those reality building things, and also work on how can I create the perception. Like for instance, in days gone by, you weren't allowed to be a home-based business. Now people say, oh, it's great to be based from home. But what sort of perception do you want to create on your website? Do you want it to look like you made the website yourself, or that it's a professional scrolling website suitable for mobile devices? You also need to think about what you intended to do and what was completely unintentional. So this happens a lot in the social media world. Somebody can all of a sudden see some message and blow it completely out of proportion, and you never meant that. But, you know, so you have to be aware that there's a lot of unintentional stuff that can occur. And also in the social media world, it's about acknowledging other people's good efforts. So it's not about keeping your cards close to your chest and keeping all your secrets to yourself. It's actually about sharing it. And when you see something else that somebody else has done, doing a like or a comment, but if you want the most brownie points, you share it. And that will really create virality. So if you can share, that's gold. Also, the Beatles got their start by playing cover songs. They didn't start by playing Beatles songs. So if you associate with a brand like the CBAA, or as I've done with LinkedIn, then it gives you much more credibility than if you just say, I just do careers. So, think about what other brands, and obviously the most relevant one for this conference is the CBAA, and then replicate, those efforts in other areas as well. And as also mentioned earlier today, ratings and reviews are becoming really, really important. I think the best ratings are not testimonials that you print up on your website, they're actually Google reviews. Now, I've been networking online since 2001 when I put my first website online, and I still do it. It's really important because there is no such thing as job security. There's only the value of your network. So it's never too young, you're never too young to start building a network, which is another reason why I encourage students to start their LinkedIn profile, because it's a way for them to keep in touch with people beyond school and through all their different careers, etc., etc. So it's not just about having an online profile, it's about starting their network and having one source of truth for all those contact details. Because I can guarantee you, nobody's going to tell you I've changed my email address or my phone number, but they will update their LinkedIn profile. So if you've got it on LinkedIn, you've got a chance to keep in touch. You also need to be willing to share your value proposition and perhaps work with others a little bit more. Your network can also be a tremendous source of both information and inspiration, not just sell to it, push your product out there. Ask for information. And it also can be a magnet for aligned opportunities. If you know that someone specialises in something, then you can refer it, they know. As I said, never too early to start. I got there. So now I'm happy to answer any question, either now, throughout the conference, tonight at dinner, via email, but if I don't respond, just remind me because I'm sort of super busy. But if you would like to provide your business card or your email in a bowl, or you can SMS me, I'm more than happy to give you a copy of these slides, the audio, the video recording, and a digital copy of my first book, 120 Ways to Achieve Your Purpose with LinkedIn. What I will ask politely for is a review. If you don't, I won't, chase you down, kill you or anything. Yeah, I'm happy to share that because I believe that all career practitioners should know about LinkedIn. And I'm also happy to invite you to connect to me on LinkedIn. But just remember, I'm not a megalomaniac, the algorithms did it. Okay? And also, as I said before, SueElson.com has heaps of past presentations, videos, audio files, articles I've written that you or your clients are welcome to visit and review. So, questions? Yes?
Just had a comment rather than a question.
Yes.
Like something you said earlier, really related to the handbag saga.
Yes.
I did say at some conference I was speaking at, I mentioned that we spend a lot of money on handbags and yet we don't invest in our own careers. And I was speaking particularly to women in that instance. And one client came back 6 months later saying, I decided to follow up because it really hit home to me that I would spend that money on the bag again linking, but I would think twice before investing in career advice. So I think, the feedback was that actually put in that way, she realised that.
Correct, yeah. So don't think about how much you're charging, start thinking about how much value and what a difference you're creating to someone's life. That's what we need to share.
So it seems to be quite common and rapid change the functionality of LinkedIn.
Yes?
I remember when you used to put the button to yes, update my contacts if you want to put in a new position. It would just send an email to everyone in your connections. It doesn't seem to be doing that anymore. Is there a way of pushing that, or is it just happens?
On the page where the profile page is, there's a little slider on the right. And you probably turned it to no, but if you turn it back to yes, it will send out that broadcast. But what you need to remember is people are getting sick of updates from LinkedIn. Somebody said it's going to be called spamming before long, they just get so much stuff. So what's happening now is even if I publish a post on LinkedIn, when I first published a post on LinkedIn, it would broadcast to everybody. Now, it only broadcasts to the people who've engaged with my content previously. So I'm getting a lot less notifications, a lot less advice, a lot less in my news feed because LinkedIn doesn't want to overwhelm me and annoy me, because then I might leave the platform. So similar things happen there. That button is still there. It's also in the settings, in the activity settings, and you can set it there. And also I'd encourage you to look at your communication settings, which will also determine how many emails you get. The final thing you can do, if you're getting too much correspondence from LinkedIn, is you can set up a rule on your email inbox that anything that comes from @linkedin.com goes into that folder, and then you can say, right, 3 o'clock every Friday I'll do my LinkedIn homework and check out my messages from LinkedIn, if it's becoming a problem. Yeah. Yes.
Exporting connections.
Yes.
I've had a little bit of trouble doing it. It's really technical. I'm trying to go into online help and
Yeah, a couple of times that I've used LinkedIn, something's just stopped working for that day or that week or whatever, so I try it again later. So just be aware of that, because sometimes they show us the number of connections when you go to that page, sometimes they don't. You know, it's computers. When I first started working with computers, you asked it to do something that would do it. Now it thinks about it and decides, will I do it today or not? You know, and you can never predict. So don't assume you've done something wrong. It could just be that something didn't work that particular day. It could also be because you're not using Google Chrome. LinkedIn does prefer Google Chrome. It hates Explorer and Firefox. It's not too bad on Safari. But if you're using Google Chrome, you'll generally get a better experience as well. We made it on time. Thank you, afternoon tea. And I'll be at the stand. I don't know whether you know, but the Career Development Association of Australia has a stand at the end of the exhibition hall, and they're showcasing some of the career development practitioners who've published books. And so I was on at lunchtime, and this afternoon there'll be other people at morning and afternoon tea throughout the conference. So please, when you're out there, go past the booth and see who's showcasing new stuff, because we've all published something, which is really exciting.
I would just like to, on behalf of the CDAA and all the people here, thank Sue so much for her presentation, which she didn't mention but was called for at a very late moment. That's why she was up at 2 o'clock. She wasn't updating her LinkedIn. She wants to reassure you she wasn't doing that. She was called on very late to do this presentation. She's prepared an amazing amount of material. She has sucked the oxygen from the room. As you can see, she's very high-powered. If today's session with Sue, you didn't get 6 good ideas to go away with, then you weren't paying attention. Thanks again, Sue.